It's almost time for Amazon Prime Day, and that is a peak time to get a lot of your favorite homeschool supplies at a steep discount. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys several of my favorite Amazon finds that I have used this year in particular that I want to make sure you're aware of and can watch to see if they will go on sale for Prime Day. Of course, no one can predict exactly what will go on sale, but from looking at past years, a lot of times if you put these kinds of things in your cart to keep an eye on it, many of them will end up going on sale and you'll be able to get a really amazing deal on things that I have already personally tested and approved. So let's get started. First up is probably one of my favorite new finds from this past year, and that is my teacher rolling cart. I absolutely adore this cart and I have been using it everywhere. I have taken it to homeschool book sales with me. I have taken it to VBS with me. I will be taking it to homeschool co-ops this fall. But this rolling cart is phenomenal. It folds up completely flat, so it takes up zero space for storage. But when I need it, it can be taken as something that I carry on my shoulder as a cart. I can also then, of course, put it on the wheels. It has 5 wheels, so it maneuvers smoothly that my kids can even help. And there's tons of room inside for lots of fun things like school books when we want to go on the go. Again, supplies for co-ops or other events. I have enough room in here. I can pack lunches for our field trips, and it has slots for my computer as well as things for like pens and paper and things like that when we want to take school on the go. This has been one of my favorites by far and something I'm really hoping goes on sale for you guys on Amazon Prime Day. The next 2 things that you're going to want to keep a lookout for on Amazon Prime Day are 2 tools that we use in our reading lessons. And you can use these whether you're teaching your kids how to read still or they're just reading on their own. I highly recommend them. They have been hugely helpful in our school. And one is the Viewfinder color overlays for reading. So there are lots of different ones out there and you can get whichever ones you want, but I will link to my favorites down below because I have found these with an opening in the middle so your child is only seeing what is the line that they need to read right there, and it blocks off what's before it and what's after it to be way more helpful than the ones that are just a simple line, because they tend to kind of still skip around with the lines above and below them. So these have been really helpful for my kids for keeping them on task, and they also double as a bookmark. So we have multiple of them shoved in all sorts of books around our house. My kids use them in their All About Reading lessons as well as using them oftentimes even in their own personal reading. The second thing that kind of goes along with that is our pointy fingers. I use these in reading lessons, but you actually can use them for any kind of school lesson and they automatically make it more fun. So it's simply just a long stick with a teeny tiny finger pointing at the end. I got them in a big bulk pack, so there's plenty for everyone. And we utilize them in their lessons. They can point to the words as they read along. They're able to use this. You could use this in math lessons to point to the board, whatever it is. It just automatically makes things more fun. And if you have reluctant learners and or if you have kinesthetic learners that do better when their hands are busy while they're also working on information, this is just sort of a fun way to incorporate that into your homeschool day. Now, not all school supplies are best to get on Amazon during Prime Day because some of them are just automatically higher than the back to school prices that you're going to see coming up here in July at places like Walmart or other office stores. However, there are a few ones that I always like to keep an eye out for. One is laminating pouches or laminator if you don't have one yet. Those are oftentimes will go on some kind of sale. I actually like to get the Amazon basic ones, and I get the 5 milliliter ones over the 3 milliliter ones because they're just thicker and they stand up better to things. So I definitely like to keep an eye out for sales on that. I also keep out an eye on sales for the fine tip wet erase and dry erase markers. I use the wet erase markers for my Plan Prep Pray planner. This allows me to write on my bookmark or to write on other areas of things that I don't want erased often because I have to use water to erase it. But then of course for our school, we use a lot of dry erase markers for our math or for writing or for crossing off things like our fluency sheets for All About Reading. So lots of different ways you can use those, but a lot of times you can find a great deal on those 2 things. Last year, I discovered these plastic dividers. They're magazine holders, but clear plastic, so they look nice and very, very easy to use. They don't have the lip on the end, so it's easy for my kids to bring things in and out without them getting folded or bent up or broken. We put them in our Billy bookshelves and they fit perfectly, which I can't say about all magazine dividers. And I 10 out of 10 recommend them. They are a little bit pricey if you're trying to buy a bunch of them at one time, which is why I'm going to be keeping a lookout for them on Amazon Prime Day sales, because if I can grab a few more, I would love to. We use them for holding up our teacher books, especially since I like to spiral bound them. They're not always as sturdy and stand upright, so this keeps them all upright from getting bent. And then we also have them for each of my students so that they can store their supplies. Another kind of out of the box idea or something to keep an eye out for is something we've actually been using in our home as we've been redoing our Blu-ray and DVD organization. We're actually getting ready to get rid of a lot of our streaming services and just go straight to things we actually own and or borrow from the library or things like that. And so with that, I was looking to build our library without having to take up a ton of extra space. So I found on Amazon these clear pouches that you can use that are specifically the size of a DVD case as far as height and width, so that you can insert the sleeve to the front cover of it, but that are paper thin. So I can take what would normally look like 200 DVDs and take up tons and tons of bookshelf space and actually put all of that into a teeny tiny container like this. You might wonder what that has to do with homeschooling, but the reason I mention it is, one, we're just always looking for organizational tips and tricks as homeschool moms, but two is because we're actually utilizing this system to be able to organize and separate out those different movies or videos that would be helpful in our school, whether they're flat out educational like Magic School Bus or Liberty Kids, or maybe it's movies that are based on true stories that we might want to incorporate on a sick day, or that we might want to have when we just want something a little fun to infuse into our homeschool day that goes along with what we're learning. I'm actually using this whole system to organize and set up an area for just our learning DVDs. Of course, books are always a great thing, and games, actually, both of those are fantastic to look out for on Amazon Prime Day. I will have a link down below to our favorite read alouds from this year. If you're looking for book ideas, a lot of times they will do a buy two, get one free or a buy one, get one free deal on books. So it's always a good idea to have a wish list ahead of time. And then of course with games, we also have a ton of favorites that I'll leave linked down below to a list where you can find several ones that we specifically like to use in our homeschool or like to use for review. Another addition we've made to our house this year that I've actually had for many years, but I've just finally added to it and redone it. I may have had four, and even though I have 6 kids and I just now got 5 and 6, but that's okay. The point is I've got them now, and these are these art storage frames from Amazon. So they are very easy to hang. We have them hanging up in our hallway. Each kid now has one, and the way it works is that my kids get to display their absolute best artwork in the front of there, so they have a place to display that artwork, but then the rest of their artwork gets stored behind it. We save this for the best of the best, not just any old scribbles or any old artwork. Obviously, when they're younger, it was more like scribbles, but now my kids are all 8 and up, so they really work hard to kind of put something in there that's really nice. It's up to them what's kind of their best of their best, but I want them to learn that idea of really putting in a lot of effort and being proud of the work that they've done and that they've put in hard work into. So that's something that is just a fun idea if you're looking for a way to decorate a school area or a way to just display some of the artwork pieces that your kids have been working on at home. Last but not least, if you guys have been watching my videos, you know that I found and fell in love with NFC cards and NFC tags. And I have a good hunch that they're going to be on Amazon Prime Day this year. If you guys want to see how we're using those specifically in our homeschool to help organize and streamline things in our homeschool, be sure to go check out this video here. And of course, be sure to check out the description below for more videos and resources that will help you kind of make a list to see what might be on sale that you can get a great deal on.